Hello everyone and welcome to the class. David A. Cox here with PCClassesOnline.com. Today we're talking about how to clean your iPhone and iPad. Now, this class was originally taught live yesterday, which was July 25th of 2015. Unfortunately, we had a little recording error that took place at the very beginning of the broadcast, so I decided to re-record this during my own time later on offline. So I really do appreciate it. You know, all of us work really hard to try to do a good job for all of you. If you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that little thumbs up like button. Also, if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free. It is the easiest way to be informed whenever we come out with new content. And as of August 1st, 2015, we are going to be teaching all of our live classes through YouTube. That's right. You'll be able to go to YouTube and watch a live class and participate. So let's begin here. Now, before I start giving you these tricks, what's important that you should do is you should know how much space you get back from these tricks, because the proof, as they say, is in the pudding, or in this case, the comment section. So if you will indulge me for a moment, here's what I would like you to do. Whatever device it is that you're cleaning today, I want you to go into Settings on that device, and from Settings, I want you to go into General Settings. If you look here, it's at the bottom of my phone. From here, go into Usage, and look at this right here. This number is your available free space. And I want you to look at what it is now. When you're done applying all of these tips and tricks, I want you to look at what it is then and let us know in the comment section, how much free space did you get back? Did this video help you? That really helps give us good feedback that hopefully we're doing a good job. So let's begin. Also, I want to mention real quickly, if you want to skip ahead to any parts in this video, I will put the various chapters with their respective time codes in the notes section of this video. Now, when I'm working privately with a client, if they are at kind of critical storage point where they have just absolutely no space left on their device and it's just becoming very, very sluggish, the first places that I go to clean are the places that most people never think to go. The things that people don't realize take up significant amounts of space. Now, to show you the first one, I want you to think about something. When you get in an email, what do? You read it, you reply, you delete. When you get in a voicemail, you listen, you reply, you delete. But messages, text messages, iMessages, those are totally different because most people reply, but they never actually delete it. They just kind of leave the conversation, and the next time that that person contacts you, the old conversation comes back to life. Those can add up over time, especially if you've been using your phone or your iPad for years now. So what I would encourage you to do is go into Messages, hit the Edit button at the very top left, tap on all of these various messages, and when you're done, hit the little delete button at the very bottom right corner. Unfortunately, there is no way to do select all. I wish there were. Maybe Tim Cook, can you build that into the next version? Please, please, please. And that's going to actually pop up again in a little bit. So clear out your iMessages, first trick. Next trick is to help your phone run actually a little bit more efficiently. Now, this trick does not work as well now as it used to because they've improved how it works. But if I go into an app, like let's just say I go into Twitter, okay, and then when I leave Twitter, Twitter's still running in the background, okay? Great. Now, whatever ad that is just got their airtime. So I leave Twitter. If I go back into Twitter, it's just going to resume where I left off. So one of the tricks is to end it from running in multitasking. So to do this, what you're going to do is double click the home button. That's the button on the front of your device. So 1, 2, it kind of pulls back here. And what you can do is you can swipe up on these various screens and they quit from running in the background. So do that for all of your apps. I recommend doing it maybe once every other week and you should be in good shape. The next trick works for both your iPhone, iPad, and also your computer, which is to periodically shut it down. And again, around once every other week. It's a good idea to do it. So to do this, just press and hold the sleep switch. In the case of the iPhone 6, it would be on the right-hand side. Press and hold it. It's going to bring you to a little screen where it's going to say swipe to power off. Okay, slide to power off. Slide with your finger. It's going to take probably about 10 to 15 seconds to shut down. Let it stay off for about a minute. Boot it back up. Good to go. That will clear out certain cache files from running in the background. Not significant in terms of the amount of space, but it will help it run, just a little bit better. The next few tricks I'm going to give you all have to do with settings. So we're going to go into settings right now. We have a total of about 5 of them. And just to be clear of where I am, Here's the main settings screen. From here, we're going to go into, once again, General. And from here, the first place that we're going to go into is Background App Refresh. These are apps that have the ability to run in the background even when you're not using them. So with certain apps, it's going to be a good thing. For example, let's say you use eBay. Okay, if you are bidding on an item, you want it to be checking to see if anyone else is bidding so you can bid higher. That's a great example of one that you would probably want to run in the background. But then you have other ones like maybe, oh, look at this, the Apple Store. Like, really? Does the Apple Store really need to run in the background? I don't think so. So go through this list. Anything that you want to have, pulling information in the background, by all means, let it run. The things that you don't care about, turn those off. That's going to help the efficiency of your battery. Next item we're going to go over is actually located in accessibility. And forgive me, I already have it turned off, so I'm going to have to kind of describe this one to you. If you look at the very bottom of my screen, okay, it says reduce motion. This can be confusing because it's a double negative. By default, reduce motion is turned off. You want it turned on. What this does is it has to do with various types of animation in your phone. It doesn't serve any real actual purpose. It's just kind of, cute and fluffy. So turn this feature on. You'll get a little bit better performance, a little bit better battery life out of your device. Good idea to do that. And it's not going to change the experience of using your phone or iPad. Next one, once again, has to do with power. So let's go back to the general menu. And from here, we're going to go into usage. And from usage, we're going to go to the very, very top option, which is battery usage. So what this is going to do is it's going to show you what apps on your phone or what features are using the most energy. Because I teach these classes, it's really no surprise that home and lock screen is at the very top of the list. But for a lot of you out there who use Facebook, Facebook will be number one. Now, for whatever reason, whenever I try to mirror this feature, the software that we use to mirror my phone crashes. So I'm going to verbally walk you through this feature here. So if you have a pen and paper, you might want to write it down. Otherwise, I'll try to go as slowly as I can. When you go into Facebook, you're going to go into where it says More at the very bottom right corner. From More, you are going to scroll to the very, very bottom of that screen, and you're going to go into Account Settings. From Account Settings, you're going to click on where it says Videos and Photos, which is approximately, I believe it's 6 items down or 5 items down. And there's a few different options here. I actually was able to capture a screenshot of this. You can see it right now. So there's this feature here. It says Auto Play. You may have noticed that when you go to Facebook on your phone, it just starts playing videos automatically. That's not a coincidence. And personally, I have a little bit of beef with Facebook about the way they program this. Where it says on my screen, it says Wi-Fi only. It's actually by default set to Wi-Fi and cellular. What that means is that's going to eat up a ton of your cellular data, which is, of course, part of your cellular plan. My advice is to change that to Wi-Fi only. You don't want to be wasting that data, that even for videos that you're not actually watching, you're just kind of skimming past them. So go into these settings and turn autoplay to Wi-Fi only. Back to where we were here in the battery usage screen. Now you will notice that it'll give you kind of an output for the last 24 hours and also the statistics for the last 7 days. There you go. Facebook number one. The other thing I want to talk about is this right here. If you should see where it says phone low signal, in my case it's only 8%. For some of you out there, it may be significantly more than that. This is very hard for me to describe because we have members who live virtually all over the globe. If your phone is struggling to receive a cellular signal, it is using a ton of energy just to hold on to whatever it has. So that is going to be, for some of you, the number one reason why your battery dies quickly. Now, depending on who your carrier is, you can call your carrier and ask them if they have an option for one of two different devices. It's called different things based on what type of technology they use. It's either referred to as a microcell or a femtocell, F-E-M-T-O-C-E-L-L. These are basically little boxes they plug into your router, and they use the internet to create a second cellular network from inside your house. I used to have to use one myself. We used to live part-time in Key West, Florida. In Key West, by law, all of the roofs are made of tin, and tin fries CDMA signals, which is what Verizon uses. So what would happen is I walk outside, I've got a full signal, I walk inside, and I'm lucky if I get anything. So we used a little femtocell, and I immediately went from 1 bar to 5 bars. So good little trick to be aware of. In some cases, with different cellular providers, you can actually get one for free. But sometimes you have to threaten them to go to their competitor in order to be able to get that. So just use that as your own knowledge. Call them, and don't be afraid to be a little bit aggressive with them. The next feature, we're going to go back one screen here. Okay, we're going to go here where it says storage, and we're going to go to manage storage. So what this is going to do is give you an idea of how much space each of these apps takes up. And no surprise in mine, photos and video take up the most. Music, okay, those are all kind of right up there. I'm a bit of a media guy, in case you haven't figured this out by now. Now, one of the tricks I'd like to show you, this is great for anyone who is, again, at that critical stage where they're really, really low. And I'm going to use Facebook here as the example. So if you look to the right of where it says Facebook, it says that it is taking up 543 megabytes. I didn't think Facebook took up that much space. Watch this. When you tap on it, look at this. It says the app size is only 137 megabytes, but it's got 400 megabytes in data. Now, we don't really know what that data is. All we know is it's part of Facebook. So if you are critically low, you can give your phone or your iPad a little digital enema, if you will. You can delete the app, go back to the App Store, and re-download it. Okay? It's one way to get back a little bit of space, especially if you need it right this second. So especially on the apps that you see at the very, very top of this list. So like in my case, it would be VLC, Spotify, these various ones. Go into it, look at how much data, not just the app, but the documents and data it takes up, and then delete it out and re-download it if you need to. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to take a very brief commercial break. It's how we're able to make these classes free, folks. When we come back, I'm going to give you some more amazing tips to get back space and make your phone and iPad run more efficiently, including my number one trick. So we'll be right back after this brief commercial break. Welcome back, folks. I'm going to dive right in and give you my number one trick. Now, this one even surprised me, and it's kind of hard to surprise me at this stage of the game. But if you had asked me years ago, how much space does calendar data take up? I would have said, oh, it couldn't possibly be that much. Just thinking, well, it's just an appointment. It couldn't be a lot. But then when you consider that you use your calendar, or some people use their calendars for years, it can really add up over time. In fact, I was so shocked by this, I had to take a screenshot to show you the before and after images. So check this out. If I go here into favorites, okay. So I used to use this little app called Cal. It's an alternative to the built-in calendar app that comes with a phone. It's a great app. I've stopped using it. No real particular reason. But look at that, 42 gigabytes of data that was taking up just because I've been using my calendar for about 5 years now. So I had 5 years of appointments of all that stuff that's in there, and I was shocked at how much that took up. Now, after the trick that I'm about to show you, this is what it had shrunk down to. 12.2 megabytes. Big, big change. So let's go over how to do it. From your settings screen, we're going to go back into settings. You're going to go into where it says Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. From here, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen. And you see there where it says Sync, and currently I have it set to events 6 months back. Well, by default, that's set to all events. So simply making the change from all events to the last 6 months. For those of you out there who actually use your calendar, you might be shocked at how much free space you actually get back. Who would have ever thought that calendar data could be so enormous? The next few tricks, folks, has to do with how you sync data from iTunes to your device. So in this case here, you can see I have my phone plugged into iTunes. I have it selected right up here at the top. And the first one we're going to talk about is music. So in the case of music, if you are telling it to sync all of your music, you might want to consider changing that so that only you sync specific playlists, specific artists. You can do that right through here because I use iCloud Music Library. I can't do that. Also, what you're looking at here is not my actual iTunes account. Also, the other big one here is photos. Okay, now ignore what you see here, but if you are running critically low on space, you may want to make sure that in your phone settings that you turn iCloud Photo Library off. And then what you can do is you can tell it to manually sync specific albums. I'll give you an example of how to do this. So let's go into Photos here real quick. And I want to show you how to create something called a smart album, which, forgive me, I've actually already created, so let me delete it real quick. So what you're going to do from here is you're going to go to File, and you're going to go to the third option down, which is New Smart Album. And let's say, you really only care about photos from the last 6 months. So I'm going to call this album Last 6 Months. And what we can do from here is tell it if the photo meets these terms and conditions, put it into this album, and ultimately we will end up syncing it over to the phone or iPad. So we're going to say if the date is in the last 6 months, okay, and check it out. We found 18 photos that matched those terms and conditions. So then what we would do is when plugging the phone into iTunes, we would tell it to just sync the album called Last 6 Months. That way you're not syncing all of your photos, just the most recent ones. The other thing you might want to consider doing is creating an album with your favorite photos, and you can sync that as well. A couple other things I want to show you is the other aspects of, again, what is referred to as other data. So the other things you might want to consider checking out besides just text messages. Also, your call history is considered part of that, so you might want to clear that out. There's your voicemails. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't actually delete old voicemails, it might be a good idea to do that. By the way, if you have a voicemail that you want to save, like let's say, and sorry not to be gruesome, but let's say it's someone who's passed away and it's like the last message they left you, there is a way to export it off your phone. What you can do is use a piece of software called iExplorer. We'll put a link in the description, and that will allow you to extract that kind of data. It'll also do text messages, by the way. Turn it into a PDF for you. All right, folks, final few items here. The other aspects of other data include voicemails. So if you're the kind of person who never ever deletes voicemails, it might be a good idea to do so. On that note, I want to mention if you ever have a voicemail that you need to extract out of your phone, whether it's for security reasons or it's because someone has passed away and you want to preserve their voice, there is a way to do it. We will create an entire video showing you how to do that. Look for that in the next couple weeks on our website at pcclassesonline.com. The other aspects of other data include call history. I already mentioned voicemails, text messages, calendar data, and email attachments, although those other items that I just mentioned now are not typically that significant. Another aspect, though, is corrupted data, and it's very, very hard to know if you actually have corrupted data on your phone. Other than I can say this, if you've tried all of the different tricks that I've given you today, and you still have a lot of extra other data, it could be a sign. So here's what you want to do. Go into settings on your phone, go into iCloud, and make sure that you have backup turned on. Also, of course, you're going to want to make sure that you know your password to both iCloud and your Apple ID. From there, once you are sure that you are backed up with your phone, what you're going to do is you're going to go into General Settings, scroll to the very, very bottom. Reset is the final option. And the second item down is erase all content and settings. So this is going to completely wipe out your phone. It's going to be as if it's brand new, factory settings. When it is finished, it's going to ask you to re-enter in your iCloud information, your Apple ID, and it's going to start to restore all of that data. So it's very important that you make sure it's all backed up beforehand. Okay, and at that point, if you in fact had corrupted data, it will have naturally cleared out. And by the way, corrupted data does not back up, so you don't have to worry about that coming back, even though you have backed up your whole phone. Now, the final thing I want to go over here with all of you is a final trick. As of today's date, the software that I'm about to show you is free. Okay, it's a piece of software called Mac Go iPhone Cleaner. It works for both Windows and Mac. You do load it on your computer, so your phone has to be plugged in. So I'm going to do it for you right now. Understand, I've already run this on my phone, so it's not likely to have very much that it's going to find on mine. Mac Go, there it is at the very bottom. And from here, it's pretty darn simple. Just hit open, plug in your phone to your computer, hit scan, and it's going to go through all the various apps. Again, I've already kind of done this. But the most important are going to be the top two items that you'll see when it's all done here. It's going to be a combination of crash logs and I forget the name of the other category. Temporary files. So in my case, not anything by any means significant. From here, what you would do is see how there's a checkbox next to everything here. You want to switch it to none and manually check these top two: download temp files and app crash logs. Hit clean phone, you get that space back. Final bit, folks. So when you buy a device, whether it's your phone, an iPad, or a new computer, it comes with an operating system, and it's great and it runs fast and efficiently, but inevitably down the road, there are going to be updates. For example, as of today's date, next month, iOS 9 is coming out. And it's not always a question of will it run on your device, it's will it run well. And there can be a very, very big difference between the two. After all, as of right now, the iPhone 4S can run the current operating system, but it's not going to run it well. In fact, it's what we've come to refer to as speed of dark performance. You've heard of speed of light? Slightly other end of the spectrum. So how do you know whether or not to update? Well, I'll give you a really good resource. All of our folks here at PC Classes Online try to look out for you all. So what we do is we put out a weekly newsletter. We do not sell your information to anyone else. You don't have to ever worry about that with us. You can sign up for it by going to our website at pcclassesonline.com. Scroll down on the homepage. By the time you see this, it might be in a slightly different location, but it will be on the homepage. And just fill out this little form here. First name, last name, email. You'll get an email from us once a week, including right after new devices or new operating systems come out, with, of course, our thoughts, opinions, and reviews. This is David A. Cox with PCClassesOnline.com. Don't forget to leave us in the comments how much space did you get back from this video. We appreciate if you hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. That's all for me, everyone. Class dismissed.